Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about Duet Night Abyss, a brand new fantasy adventure RPG with a anime aesthetic. It also has a 3D combat system with a splice of fast-paced hack and slash meets third-person shooter. Overall, it's been a real breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to share my insights with you with the time that I've spent with this game thus far. But first, allow me to give a huge shout out to Duet Night Abyss and the development team for enabling me to bring this game to your awareness. Now, I would like to provide the context that this game is still in its early stages of development, so there's still room for optimization, quality of life, improvements, changes, and so on and so forth. Also, I only got to play this game for Chapter 1, and I'll be sharing all of my experience based off the experience I had playing Chapter 1. With that said, let's get straight into it. So when you get into a new video game, generally one of the biggest learning curves is going to be the build system. And it's typically because build systems are quite complex and intricate to the point where you're like confused, a bit overwhelmed, intimidating, right? There's a lot to learn. You got to reacclimate yourself with terminologies. What do stats mean? Where do I go? How do I build my character? It's a lot of questions. Well, hopefully I can provide as much insight as I can to alleviate all of that to a large degree. Let's go ahead and start off with attributes. We'll go over each section. Attributes, you're gonna have stats down here, and every single character is gonna belong to a particular element. For instance, Rebecca is Hydro, but we also have Pyro, Animo, Electro, Lumino, and Umbro. All of those characters will belong to one of these elements. She's gonna be a Hydro character right here. We've got Lynn, who is a Pyro character. We've got Psyche, who is a Animo character. We've got Berenica, who is an Umbro character. So yeah, they all belong to a particular element. As far as stats go, if you're confused to what the stats do, rest assured, just click anywhere in this black space here. It'll pull up the stat menu explaining what each particular stat does. Any of them that I feel is important to mention when you're building your character, we'll bring them up, rest assured. Now, moving on to skills. Skills are going to be quite straightforward. You have a passive and you have a Q and an E. Your Q is your ultimate, your E is your skill. This is pretty standard for a number of games. What I like about it is a nice little QOL. If you click on the ult, it'll actually show an animation of how the ult looks and performs. You got a description down here, and if you go to attribute details, it even has your percent multipliers. Same thing works with the skill. You can see how the skill looks. Then you have attribute details, and then of course your passive. Moving on to melee weapons and ranged weapons. Every single character in the game is going to be able to use not only a melee weapon, but also a ranged weapon. So it's applicable to everyone. Some characters actually have a third weapon, and that third weapon is going to be called a consonance weapon. What is a consonance weapon, Smack? It's actually going to be a weapon from my experience with the characters I have now. It's a weapon that is exclusive to characters who enter a enhanced ultimate state that lasts for a duration of time, and now they use a weapon that is exclusive to that ultimate state. For instance, she uses what we call Hansel and Gretel. By the way, I love this name. Hansel and Gretel is these dual pistols that she can only use when she enters her ultimate state. So some characters have a third weapon inside of their ultimate state. These three all have a weapon where they enter their ultimate state, which is real nice. But then you have somebody like Rebecca. She doesn't have a consonance weapon. Why? Because her ult is a burst. It's not a state, it's just a burst. So hopefully that makes perfect sense. Finally, we go down to the Intron. Intron is gonna be your typical gacha game dynamic when you unlock duplicates of a character. Now, I wanna be clear here. This game has not been specified as a gacha game. For now, it's in the air. No clue at all, so do not take me as me saying this is a gacha game. It's not been specified yet, guys, but this dynamic here is very similar to a gacha game's dupe system. You unlock these currencies or duplicates of a character, and it's gonna unlock innate abilities that are gonna increase the performance, comfort, and power spike of that character. Right now I have these two unlocked, and I got them simply by playing the game and playing with this character. It was actually pretty cool, to the point where like I was grinding and doing combos and completing quests with this character, and I hit these thresholds to where it unlocked these innate abilities of the character, which was really cool. Are they going to keep that in the game or not? Beats me, but just know that's what the Intron state is. Okay, now that we got all that out of the way, how do you go about building your character? One of the first things you need to do is, what weapon should your character be using? This is where weapon proficiency comes into play. It says she specializes in using a polearm. The reason you want to use a polearm is because weapon proficiency is going to increase the attack further of the character if you give them the weapon of their choice, the weapon that they are favored with. So you want to identify what weapon they like to use first and foremost. Now, once that's been established, what I like to do is I come over here to their skills and I examine what it is that they do. Her passive says that when she's using a melee weapon and her summon, she can inflict a buff of Poison of Love to the target up to 6 stacks. Poison of Love is actually a damage per second effect, so it's like a dot. So that tells me off rip that if I can inflict a dot with her melee attacks, attack speed is going to be a stat that is going to be valuable to this girl. Her ultimate says deals hydro damage to surrounding enemies, and the damage is increased based off the amount of stacks of the Poison of Love. So again, attack speed is very important to get those stacks up and then pop the ult. From my analysis, not that you only have to play this character this way, but that's what screams at me when I'm doing this analysis. Finally, you have her jellyfish that says summon Aurelia Arita, a maximum of 3 can exist at the same time, and these jellyfish are going to be ticking on everyone's head in a radius. So you combine all this together, and essentially with her auto attacks and charged attacks, you're putting a bunch of dots on their head and they're taking damage. So I'll analyze their skills to get an identity of how I want to build them after I've decided the weapon that is their weapon proficiency. And from there, I'll look at the element Hydro Attack. When triggering bonus effects, inflicts a stack that deals Hydro Dot to the target for 6 seconds, up to 6 stats. That's now 2 different dots that can occur just by me auto attacking. So the way I looked at this was attack speed. Just put a bunch of attack speed on her and start popping off. What's funny is that triggering a bonus effect is directly tied to what we call trigger probability. Right, so trigger probability says the chance of triggering a bonus effect with each damage dealt. When it exceeds 100%, there's a chance to trigger more bonus effects. So you want to get your trigger probability up as high as possible when you're running particular builds such as this. The final factor is the weapon's type of attack. My weapon has a piercing attack. When triggering bonus effects, the piercing damage dealt to the target's HP this time is doubled. Yet again, another trigger probability perk. So between the 2 dots in this piercing attack, all of it is going to be reliant on how fast I'm attacking and triggering these bonus effects. Case in point, 20% attack speed on it as well. I'm sold. I want to make this character a auto attacking beast. That's pretty much what came to my head. So now we can get in to the build system, which is what we like to call demon wedges. This is going to be essentially the armor that you put on your characters that's going to have effects and perks that are going to overall make your character stronger and perform well in combat. Now this next part is pretty important. There's a build for your character, and then there's a build for your character's weapons. So I have a build for my character Rebecca, and then I have builds for my melee weapon and my ranged weapon. This is why I said that she's easier to build than these 3 characters right here, because they all have consonance weapon too, weapons for the ultimates, which you also have to make a build for that. So I'm using a character that's pretty freaking easy to build, but let's go ahead and head over to demon wedges so I can show you the intricate depth of this build system. This is what we call our demon wedges, these little pieces right here. And then this is going to be our catalog of demon wedges that we've accumulated by playing the game and doing various activities. Each one of these wedges has a numerical value next to it, and it also has a symbol next to that numerical value. We also have what we call tolerance. Tolerance is essentially like burden or weight. Each one of these wedges has a weight numerical value to it. This one costs 12 to put on. This one costs 15 to put on. This one costs 6. This one costs 4. If you add up all of those, you'll come out to 37 tolerance points out of 50. We cannot equip stuff that is heavier than what our tolerance cap is. Case in point, this costs 14. This one down here is cost 14. Only have 13 tolerance points remaining. So if I try to put this right here, it's not going to happen. Now there is a way to circumvent that, and we will get to it. But let's continue on. One of my favorite things about Duet Night Abyss build system is we got some loadouts. Oh yes. So you see we have A, then we have B, and we have C. 3 different loadouts for our characters. Boy, is loadouts such a treasure these days. So that's one of my favorite qualities. Another quality is that our wedges, aka our armor, doesn't have RNG on its sub stats. You don't have to worry about rolling for hydro attack or rolling for once you get the stat on the armor, it's there. You level it up and you get your stats. There's no RNG, you level it up, it's straightforward. And the final perk, you ready for this? These wedges, aka armor pieces, they are not interchangeable. What this means is if you pick up a good piece that is good for 3 different characters, you do not have to share that piece and take it off of one character to put it on the other character. It's pretty much infinite. You can put that same piece on 4 different characters and all 4 will be wearing that piece the same time, which is really, really nice. Saves you a boatload of grind as well. So yeah, those are my favorite perks, but let's get back to how we could circumvent this tolerance. Well, first and foremost, if you level up your characters and weapons, it's going to increase the tolerance cap, right? AKA the weight cap. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, I've already did it on this blaze piece right here. This blaze piece was actually, I believe, you know what, we can just take it off. You see it says 6 as a numerical value. If we take it off, here's the blaze piece. Let's call it pounds. It initially weighed 11 pounds, but I used the material on this particular slot right here that enabled me to reduce the weight cost down to 6. How did I do that magical effect? Allow me to show you. Essentially, you can click on any of these slots that you have available. I can click on this and we can press adjust slot track. And if we adjust the slot track, all we have to do is match the symbol of the wedge we're trying to put right there that is too heavy. So let's go ahead and go back real quick. This wedge is 14 pounds and then it's a R essentially, right? So we can come here to this empty slot, adjust slot track, and then we can choose R. This is the material that we are going to need though in order to make this happen. Now here's the crucial part. This material is quite rare. You have to grind for it at times and you can get it from the shop and various places like that, but you want to be careful with what you're doing at this particular point, because since it's finite and you have to grind it, if you mess up, well, then that material's completely perished and you have to get another one again. So you have to be careful with what you're doing with your build and know what you're doing with your build, which honestly I can appreciate. You got to know what you're doing. As far as I know, I can come over here to the shop and I can come to materials, weekly support. And here's this material right here, track shift module. They also have one for weapons as well. You know, I said you build your characters and your weapons. Yeah, there's one for weapons and then there's one for your character. So we could buy this material right here, which we will. And now that we have that material, we can click on this, adjust slot, choose R, confirm. And guess what? Nope. Now we meet the tolerance threshold. Instead of costing 14, it only costs 7. And now we have that wedge equipped. So this is essentially how your wedge system works. Now, how do we build the character? Honestly, it's pretty straightforward. As it is in all games, crit is king. And if you can go for some damage bonuses, go for some damage bonuses on your DPS. So I have a hydro attack right here, and I took it straight to the ceiling. And then I have an attack plus 75% over here. So this is essentially attack percent, and then that's hydro percent. You can never go wrong with going for the character's element attack percent increase or just flat attack percent increase. For general purposes, you can't go wrong with stats such as that. Another stat that's really good is going to be your sanity, increasing your sanity. So your sanity is essentially like your energy or your mana of your character. You need your sanity to use skills and ultimates. So if you can increase the threshold of that, that's going to make things a lot easier. So that's another stat I like to go for as well. This one increases my max sanity by 60% and my skill efficiency plus 15%. Skill efficiency reduces the cost to use your skill, and your skill does cost sanity as well. So just think of skill efficiency as the reduction of utilizing that skill sanity. Now, how do we build the character and the weapons? Like what should I go for, Smack? If you don't want to 5-head it, and because you know this game is highly customizable, guys. There's sky's the limit with the amount of perks that it has down there. There's a lot of ways to get creative. If you don't want to 5-head it, you got auto equip right down here. You don't got to think about it too hard. Just auto equip, let the game take care of that for you. If you're trying to 5-head it, generally in my experience in these games, you can never go wrong with going for things like hydro attack percent increase or flat attack percent increase. As you can see, I took that one straight to the moon. Hydro attack 49.8%, and then we have attack over here plus 75%. You can never go wrong with stuff like that because that's generally going to be applicable to all characters. The element and the attack percent increase, those are generally the pieces that I will also reduce the weight on because I know I can just put them on every single character. But crit rate, crit damage, you know, it's just standard thing that you're going to do in pretty much every game. And then the incredibly like creative perks, well, you're going to have to learn a little bit more about the game. I will say, to finish this section off though, max sanity is is very important in this game. Sanity is essentially like your mana or your energy. You need sanity to use your skill and your ultimate. So the higher the sanity is, the more your comfort and just the more significance you're gonna have in the midst of combat. Some characters prioritize sanity because that's going to allow them to stay in their enhanced ultimate states much longer. So food for thought, but let's go ahead and move on. One of the next things I wanted to talk to you guys about briefly is going to be the forging system. So this little icon up here, you can click on that, or you can just come and talk to this little person here. Now there's various things you can craft in this forging system, but the most important and cool things to craft are going to be the rare weapons. So check this out. That's a scythe. First of all, that looks like Devil May Cry Dante's weapon. That is super sick. It looks like Sparta's, oh my god, it looks like Sparta's sword. That's super sick. we've also got the spear over here. I'm sorry, that one's really tripping me out. That's super cool. You can look at them and see what they do first and foremost, right? You can hover on each one, decide super. I gotta craft these, holy moly. Sorry guys, weave it out real quick. The other thing that's cool though, these weapons are blueprints that you can farm off of the bosses you can grind weekly. So you can get blueprints of rare weapons from bosses, and then you can go farm them straight into this shop. This was the highlight of the forging system for me. Really cool perk. Okay, I just wanted to go over this briefly. This is probably my favorite mode when it comes to like admiring character design. You come up here to inventation, right? When we click on this, you have 3 different settings that'll show off the design and look of your characters. It'll even show off a bit of voice acting. I love the theatrics of how they are doing it. Keep in mind though, guys, again, this is early stages of development, so it'll look even better upon the game's release. But we can flip over here. She's sitting on the couch. You can also change who you want to be sitting on that couch or in those particular places around this area. So we have her standing over here by the window wall. Oh my goodness, she looks good. You can change whoever you want to be in these particular places. So the armchair, I have her sitting right there, right? But we can go ahead and change and put my girl here, and it's also gonna, show off a little bit of voice acting. I'll go ahead and let that play.
Not bad. I should have enough for this month. I thought that Randy would take it all himself.
I did not know she's
home and get by with the rest.
I didn't even know she did that. That's awesome. That was actually a fresh reaction. What the name? 10 out of 10. Duet. Devs, 10 out of 10. We need more of that. So we can come over here to this part and we can switch somebody in. Change them out.
Are you staying here to spend some lovely time with me? I'm already looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then we can change back to Berenica.
She has never been a bird that could be caged. I know that someday she will spread her wings and take flight far away from this small island.
Yeah, so this is a good spot.
I'm not sure whether that is a blessing or
a curse for us. I didn't mean to interrupt. Okay. This is a good spot to go if you want to show off your character design and appreciate how they look. I just wanted to touch over it briefly. Okay, now it's time to move on to the most important part of every game out there. Yes, oh yes, the combat. We're gonna go over all the aspects of the combat, and then what better way to showcase the combat off than to fight a big bad boss. So we're gonna do that after we go over every single aspect. Let's start off with the auto attacks. We have auto attacks, right? You can spam that as much as you want and build up a combo meter. And by the way, that's gonna lead me into my next one, the charged attack. You just hold down the left click, you can do a charged attack. The charged attack is one of the most beautifully integrated and innovative ways of using a charged attack I've ever seen in some game. I've never seen this before. Maybe some of you guys have. If you build up a combo meter, you build up this combo meter. I'll be sure to point it out during the boss fight. You're gonna be able to do increased charge attack damage based off of how much combo meter you've built up, which is actually insane because it incentivizes you to use your charged attack with certain characters as opposed to a character specializing in charged attack being the only incentive. So it's such a beautiful thing to say, oh, okay, now I can let loose with my charged attack now that I have an A built up on my combo meter. Let's go ahead and move on to the dodge. So we have a dodge. Right down here, you can see my dodge charges. There's only 2, which is a good thing to have finite dodges so that the game's balance in terms of difficulty remains stable. If you have infinite dodges, then you just dodge whenever you want and there's no real skill in the game. So I can appreciate that. However, it is worth mentioning that there is a wedge that can increase your dodge chances, which is really nice. Next thing we have is a slide. Now this slide is one of the most important combat integrations in the game. This slide leads into an opener. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. So the slide can also lead into what we call a helix jump. So we slide and then we hit the jump button, and that's what we call a helix jump. This can be used to like cover distance. It can also be used to go into a plunge attack. But the most important thing is sliding and looking up at the beautiful sky. Oh, yes. No, I'm just kidding. When you slide and look up, something magical happens. The helix jump all of a sudden gives you the ultimate hops. So we slide, look up, tap the jump button, and look at that coverage. Boom, then we can go into a plunge attack. Honestly, that is used in so many instances of the game. It's not even funny. Like to get to higher parts of terrain that are otherwise too difficult, we can slide, jump up, boom, we can dash, plunge. You can cover ground with it. The movement mechanism is actually insane. And you can do it not only in combat, but again, to traverse the map. So sliding, looking up, jump, it's very, very nice in terms of getting around and doing damage and so on and so forth. Another thing that we have is interchangeable between melee attacks into ranged weapons, right? We can go right into the ranged weapon, which is really nice as well. You can also shoot the ranged weapon while we're in midair. So straight into a plunge attack. So this is fast-paced combat, like I said, mixed with a splice of a shooter, third-person shooter mode as well. Overall, it's a very engaging experience. Now, I don't want to forget the last thing. Of course, we have our double jump, right? Can't forget about the double jump. Surely we got a double jump after showing you off all that fancy movement, huh? Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and fight this boss and put all of this together so that you can have a good idea as to how the combat works in action. I do want to mention this game has a really cool feature where you can summon other units to the battlefield to assist you. She is actually the most beastly support in the game. She not only heals your party, she puts shields on your party, and she provides an attack speed increase. This girl is a beast, and I can assure you when the game drops, that's going to be one of the most important characters to summon out to help you. Furthermore, you can summon an additional unit as well. So now we're in 3v1 more so. Okay, to be honest, I just thought about it. I want to leave my supports out, just because I want y'all to see everything I'm doing, and with the supports on the field, it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. And I am trying to enlighten y'all on what this combat experience is like. So let's leave them out. Let's go ahead and clap this cheeks real quick. All right, she usually starts off trying to jump at me. We're gonna dodge. Oh, easy dodge, okay. Good. Summon our jellyfish. Jump in the air, don't get hit by that. Oh, she tried to hit me with that one. Oh, that ricochets back. Let's go to the right. It's okay. Look at our combo. Ooh, dodge those. Our combo's at a B. Now it's at an A. We're gonna chunk dodge. Look at that. That was good damage. 2,000. Now we bring out our ranged attack. We gotta break her wings. Name of the game is break the wings. We got a tornado coming after us. Let's try to dodge away from it real quick. Go back to breaking those wings. All right, we're looking good. We gotta break them before the time expires. Ooh, this is gonna be close. Come on. There he goes. One more. One more. There it is. Okay, now we get some free damage in. Summon the jellyfish. We got full stacks to pop ult. Good. Pop ult. We're waiting for that meter up there to almost expire, and then F for the finisher. Boom. Let's back up. Summon another jellyfish. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. Oh, nope. We dodge all of that. Oh! Caught me with that last one. I wasn't ready for that last one. Jump in the air. Don't get hit by that. Oh, come on. No. Jump in the air. There we go. We dodged that. Good. Nope. All right. Oh, look. We have an A on the combo. Oh, I missed. I missed. She went back in the air in her freaking butterfly stance again. Wow. Okay, we're doing all right. Oh no. Oh no. This is not good. I think we're not gonna get this. Oh, we're not gonna get this one. Yeah, we're not gonna get this one. That's okay. That's all right. Oh. Woo. Oh. Ouch. Jump in the air. Wow, she still got tornadoes going around? What the heck? All right. There we go. We got her. Okay, we just got to finish her off. So this game does have finishers on boss fights, which is really nice.
I will punish those.
Okay, there we go.
Faithful to love. In the
And did we get a
God of Love's
blueprint?
name.
Did we get a blueprint? No, we got a 4-star blueprint. Oh, that's okay. All right, well, that is the combat experience. I actually didn't use enough helix leaps. I got to get better at that. That's a skill issue. I got to get better at using this. I'm way better at using it during the commissions than I am during the boss fights. But we were jumping over them with our double jump and making advantage of that. But hopefully you enjoyed that combat experience. That's going to wrap up today's content for Duet Night Abyss. I do hope you learned a great deal of information pertaining to this game thanks to this video. Overall, I had a wonderful time playing it. Its combat is fun and immersive. The build system has a good degree of complexity and intricate depth to it, to the point where you can cook up some 5-head builds that you're proud of. The character designs look great. The dynamic and the horizontal progression feels pretty good. I'm actually excited to see what they're going to do with this game and how they're going to cook it up upon its release. Again, thank you to the Duet Night Abyss development team for sponsoring this video and enabling me to bring it to you guys' awareness. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and happiness, and I'll catch you on the flip side.